Welcome to Maturation 101. I'm your host, Dr. Chris. Dr. Chris Heidelberg, of course, but Dr. Chris for the purposes of this, because Heidelberg is too daggone long. In the last episode, we gave a long one on the NFL, which stands for not for long. And what we were talking about in that, to sum up that message, was that sometimes we take the two things. The line NFL comes from a famous clip on NFL Films where Jerry Glanville tells an official, "Look here, college boy, this is the NFL, and that stands for not for long. If you keep making bad calls like that," and in our lives, it is the NFL. It's not for long if you keep making bad calls in your personal life because you choose to align yourself with people who all they want to do is use you to live their dreams, to have their good time that night, not caring about what you're going through where you probably shouldn't be, for example, hanging at a club or hanging at a bar or hanging at a strip club or doing or going shopping when you don't have money. If you have debt, guess what that means? You can't go to the Migos show. You can't go see Future. You can't go see I don't know, you can't go see Journey for my older friends. You can't go see Earth, Wind, and Fire. You can't sit there and mortgage your future for a short-term gain. That's the NFL mentality. It's short-term thinking. Typically, two people subscribe to the theory. People who tend to be on the amoralistic business side, and there's billionaires like the NFL owners who have this short-term thing where they think it's okay to screw over fans from a city, hold them ransom, and then just move on and leave the city's economy in a wreck because it brings in a lot of money for those 16 weeks. And everybody knows it, but they go ahead and do it. And they don't care. They just do it. They don't care. They don't give a crap. No, young people say they don't give a shiggity. They don't give a shiggity about you and me. And unfortunately, people have taken on this thing. You look at some of these housewife shows that are on right now, where all these women, these reality shows, where all these women, it's all about them. And then you have women watching this show trying to live it out in real life, thinking they're going to do that to a really good guy and think it's not going to come back on them. And it does. It invariably does. And I bet you everybody here got a friend who they know who's a woman who acts like that. And every guy's got a friend who's the guy that will screw over women, don't give a darn, and does them like that. And he on a reality show making more babies he don't need. Kirk. But what we're basically trying to say is that, folks, get with the program. The NFL mentality is a short-term mentality. The NFL mentality is a mentality that is antithetical to basically living a life of win-win because it's all based on wants. And when you have wants, and you've heard me say before, when you have wants, you're being extra. When you focus on your wants, you're being extra and you're going to get extra. You're going to get just what you want, and nobody should get what they deserve, but you're going to get just what you deserve and want. Because you wanted it and you didn't need it. When you want, it's a selfish thing. I hate to say it. People say, well, I want to eat. No, you need to eat so your body can engage in cellular regeneration and you can live and your respiratory, everything functions. You need to eat. You don't want to eat. You need to eat. Want is a form of greed, and we got to start thinking about that. And we have a problem of greed in this country. People want what they want when they want it. We're extremely narcissistic. You can look at the reality show. People primping in the mirror all the time. That beauty ain't going to be there all the time. Mirror, mirror on the wall, you won't always be the fairest of them all. So, yeah, I never had that problem, of course. I'm cute and cuddly on a good day. But on a serious note, folks, we got to get rid of that NFL mentality. So you could say this is a part 2 of it, of just wrapping that thing up. And I'm going to be talking more about the NFL mentality. But remember, it's always about time, energy, and resources. Where you spend your time, energy, and resources and who you spend it with says a lot about you. And what you need to start doing is adding up the costs like the NFL does and making a ruthless decision that these people have to go. We're gonna do it the right way. We're gonna look at the people and like make a list of them. Make a list of your friends. First of all, if you got a list of 20 daggone people, that tells you the problem right there. It's too many people in your ear. You can only have one quarterback getting directions from one coach at a time. You may have an offensive coordinator, a quarterback coach, and a head coach. You know, and they don't talk at the same time. It's one person in the ear, and they got the information and they consolidate it. And that's the problem. Some of us got too many people in our ears who know our personal business that they should not know. You just get a call when you find it. You don't call 2 and 3 people. You go to the person. If you're financing it yourself, that's one thing. But you don't need to be talking to 10 people. Talk to 1 or 2 people. That's it. But if you got somebody else financed, I'd be darned if you're going to be talking to these other people. You need to talk to the person who's the financier, because that's where we get in trouble. We get in houses and cars, and we want to tell our friends, oh, we got it. Why? If you deal with somebody else, that person needs to know you talking to those people, because now you're talking about their business as well as your own, and we don't think about that. Some people have a blessing right in front of them and they don't want it because they want what they want instead of what they need. And I've seen this story so many. I could get on here forever and tell you stories about people who wanted something or someone so bad, but it wasn't what they needed. I am doing this show now because of someone that I needed, but they weren't sure they wanted me. And that was problematic. They wanted what they wanted. And what they should have been wanting is what they needed. And I had this conversation. So I don't need this lecture because I'm like, yeah, homegirl, you needed the lecture because this whole maturation thing's started because of you, boo, and you need this course too. And that's the bottom line. I don't care who you are. Nobody's immune to the rules, written and unwritten. And if you think you can cheat the rules, think again, because you'll be back. And that's why I tell people all the time. When people do stuff like that, I say, oh, they'll be back. And when they come back, everybody wants to say, oh, I want to take you back. Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. You don't, all people say you never go back. That's stupid, because sometimes some people need to learn the hard way. They haven't suffered enough. Let them suffer. But if they want to come back, you got to have some rules. You get to change the power dynamics of the relationship. So you state your aims, what you want, and you stick to it. And say, if you violate this, we gone. That's it. You got to treat them like a criminal. They're on parole. They're on probation. You got to do it. Enforce the rules and do it, because people will tell you whatever they want to get back. But the deal is, you're going to do what you need to do if you really want this. And you're going to give them a test period to see if they even worth your time. So that's not always true. A lot of us aren't interested in reconciliation and forgiveness and moving forward. We're too busy about revenge and anger, and I want a payback. We want to do the James Brown. Big payback. Revenge. Woo. Big payback. No, you don't want to do that. It's not worth it. In the Count of Monte Cristo, it says revenge is a bitter medicine. And it's true. The best revenge, as Shakespeare said, is living well. When you live well, they want to come back. They realize what they had. And invariably, they'll get treated bad. And somebody, there's always that friend, usually one of the friends that got them in trouble in the first place. Well, what happened to so-and-so? I've heard this happen many times where they would come to me and say, well, what happened to Chris? Well, he gone because of this. He was trying to get me to do this. Oh, no, I was trying to get you to act for where you were going and act right for where you were trying to go, and not stay where you are. But you want to listen to people that want to keep you where you were. You got to understand the crab in the barrel syndrome. As soon as one crab is getting out and onto a better life, the ones that don't have what you have are going to try to drag you down to their level. A real friend will say, no, you stick with them and encourage the relationship. But they ain't doing that. They're going to break it up. And women do that typically. But you know what? Guys do it too. They see a good guy going with somebody and they realize they're not going to be able to get the same chicks if they don't have homeboy as the babe magnet or the wingman. So you got to understand this works both ways. The whole game is rigged to keep people, men and women, at each other, especially women and men of color, because there's a whole history of separating us from going back to slavery, where they would take you, get you attached, you have a couple kids, okay, let's live next to the next farm. And then he make a bunch of kids, same thing repeated over and over again for generation upon generation. And then during Reconstruction, when the family got strong and the Civil Rights Movement, when African Americans and Latino people were together, they said, well, we got to stop this because they're getting too powerful. So then what do we come up with? One of the unintended consequences. I'm sure that maybe Lyndon Baines Johnson didn't have this in mind when he did welfare. But you're not going to tell me somebody in the room didn't know that this could be a consequence when the black man couldn't, or any man for that matter, but especially black, couldn't be in the house. And now we're looking at 2 and 3 generations later, 50 and 60 years, almost 60 years later, and we got a bunch of boys not being raised by men. And we're wondering why we have the problems that we have. That's not being chauvinistic. The women are raising women, and they still turn out great products. But the men aren't raising the men, and that's why the product is, not even mediocre. It's substandard in too many cases. Now, the ones who are turning out good are turning out real well. And we got a lot of people like myself who came from quote-unquote broken homes who ended up being okay. But guess what? We're damaged and we're untreated in way too many cases. So when you're untreated and you damaged, that's a problem. I mean, and most men, like I said before, don't grow up till be 45, 50 years old. Why? Because we got a lot of issues that are untreated we don't deal with. And sometimes things have to happen for you to deal with it. And I grew up in a family where my mother was a therapist. But when I got like 40 and the stuff was hitting the fan and I couldn't handle it, I ain't want to do nothing crazy. Well, I got something then. And that's all I'm trying to tell all of you, is that things happen. Don't be ashamed of getting help. Because a lot of brothers don't want to get help. We've got to feel. Now, let's get back to this thing. We talked about the NFL. Now I want to get to the next topic of why the NFL is important. Because of the fact he was talking about judgment. Part of maturity that you get, maturation process, getting good judgment. And that's why we want to distinguish between wants and needs. Wants and needs will often determine what kind of judgment you have. If you're frequently looking at your wants, and a lot of us who don't have that, don't cover nothing, we looking at our wants because we ain't never had nothing, we're going to have nothing, and we're not looking at the long term. That's why the poor stay poor. They keep making decisions based on the wants instead of the needs. They might say, okay, I'm going to pay this bill because I can't get put out. But I know people who won't pay their rent and go out. Hit the casino. I know people like that. We all know people like that. We grew up with them. You know, we know kids like that. They won't do it. And it's a self-destructive nature and it's self-sabotage. Some people are afraid of success. And so as soon as they start getting success, they start wilding out, doing stupid stuff that's antithetical, or for those who don't know what antithetical means, it runs contrary to what you're trying to achieve. That's called, that goes into that whole personal hypocrisy thing we're talking about. When you get that personal hypocrisy going on, what you end up doing is doing things that run against what your intention is. And that's why we talked about before about being aligned. Your alignment, your goals, your vision, your actions should all align. If they don't, that means your personal hypocrisy, your selfishness, and your narcissistic nature is winning out. Sounds like this biblical stuff that they talking about, doesn't it? Yeah. So you have to work on that because you can't let it win. It's keeping you from where you're going to be. And I'm going to tell you something. Everybody's not going to be everybody's not going to be a millionaire, but everybody can be financially independent by making good decisions. But minimum 10%. But what we want to do is get to the point where we can save 20 to 35%. We can make 20 to 35% just like a business on our money. That's where we need to be going so that we can live off a smaller percent. We got to start to learn how to live off the interest and and never touch the principal. But that's something that's not taught in school. But you're going to learn it in this class. I'm going to be talking to some folks and bringing them in because there's no way. Part of Maturation 101 means that, guess what? You got to start attending to your needs first. And your wants will be a byproduct of that. Needs, not wants. Because needs incur a need. When you have a need, you don't get it. When you have a need, and you focus on the need, you won't have a need to get into greed, which is all based on want. You get it? Let's repeat that one more time. You could quote me. That's a Dr. Chris Heidelberg original. When you focus on your need, you won't have a need to focus on your greed, which is all caused by wants. And wants have a sinful nature to them every way you look at it. I know I sound one of these daggone preachers today. Got the suit on too, but the bottom line is that them old folks over there were talking about. Needs counteract greed as long as you don't focus on the want. So think about that. That's why we call it the NFL mentality. It's the short-term mentality. People who come from nothing, people say, well, I got to live now because of that. No, you got to live tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. And I love when people say, I need to experience life. And then also, guess what? You can experience life by living I said it before, you can experience life by just living. But when you start doing reckless stuff in the name of fun, I want to experience this person, you don't want to do that. You know what these people got? You mess around with get an STD on a humble because you want to experience something new. No, experience something real. You don't want to be joining psychologically and spiritually so with these people. You don't know where they've been and the people they've been with because you sleep with everybody they slept with. And that's pretty bad if you think about it. I got some friends, I call them Indianapolis because they got more than 500 partners. And they were bragging about it one day. I'm looking, I was like, God dang, man. I thought I was bad because I had a reasonably high 2-digit number. These jokers got 3-digit numbers and they weren't even sad about it. But now, guess what? I look at them, I look at me, and guess what? I still look young. These fat, they ain't got no hair. So I got a head full of hair. They ain't got no hair, and most of it ain't, believe it or not. And I have very little gray. I just started having a shave, but they lived a hard life. They wanted to do what they wanted to do. They wanted to go after their wants, and they didn't address their needs. And now some of them, their retirement plan ain't being what it is. So guess what? While I'm looking at, I can step out the door, take early out now, and do what I want to do in the job, or next year definitely do it. These folks got to work because they were looking about their wants, and some of them made more money, but they didn't keep any of it. So that's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. And the younger you start, the better it is. And young brothers, I'm going to talk to y'all for a moment. Dude, we got to get in the habit of saving 10 to 20. So my brothers of color, especially young, we got to learn how to start saving that off the top. Pay yourself first. First rule of finance, pay yourself first. The goal is to pay yourself 20 to 35% of what you get. So you have it for you. And that way you'll be all right. And give you 10% the tithes. We'll talk about that too. Because you know what? I never had a money problem as long as I tithe. I always had a problem when I stopped. And that's the thing. It's something about giving and committing to giving more than 10% of your income to something that you care about. Now, those of us who go to church, in a synagogue, whatever, that's and mosque, that's what you're supposed to do. But for those of you who don't, find a United Way charity or some charitable organization you believe in and give them your 10%. And do it that way. It's tithing, but it works. We don't know why, but it works. I guess it's godly, so it's a principle. You can get it. So start focusing on that. Stop getting on the selfish tip and stop thinking it's all about you because it's not. You will have nothing if you keep that short-term NFL mentality, meaning that, Jerry Glanville was somebody that's not for long when you keep making bad decisions, and he's right about that. But one of the bad decisions that Jerry want to talk about is the league itself sometimes. I'm not down in the NFL, I love the product, but the mentality that you can take whole cities that supported you for years, like a loyal spouse, and then turn your back on them and go to the new chick, that ain't cool. It ain't right. And I'm looking at that CTE thing when I'm talking about, and I think that's one of the byproducts. The CTE and these injuries people get, people don't want their kids to play football anymore. So they're sowing the seeds of their own destruction because they didn't do right by the retired players and these other ones. And so you're going to see more of that happen because in real life, that's what happens to people. They do the same thing. They treat the people who treat them well and love them and treat them. They don't want that. They want the bad boy or the bad girl who's gonna love them long time. And they're not going to love them long time. They're going to love you short time, and then they're going to get tired of you and go to the next one. Because that's why they are, because they're selfish, inconsistent, inconsiderate bastards. There, I said it. I love when I use colorful language. But that's where I'm going. And men and women, we got to stop this war, but we got to own up to some things. Women, the fairy tale's over. These brothers and sisters, these brothers out here are not Prince Charming. Stop thinking that bull crap. He may do some things like that, but stop expecting him to be perfect. At the same time, hold him to a standard, but stop having this thing where everything isn't done perfectly to your thing, where you're being ridiculously high maintenance, and the man is trying. He's doing the right thing. He loves you, but that's not enough for you. You got to have something. You better get a man that loves you. I ain't saying he got to be James Westerly's man, but the brother is decent, reasonably decent looking. You should be a cute one anyway. Give him a daggone real chance and let him, as long as he's taking care of you and loving you, love him back. You can't do that. You can't accept things from people, gifts, stuff like that, and think that you can get away with that. That ain't right, ladies. Stop billing brothers. You know what billing people means? Taking stuff from them, taking their money, time, and energy and resources, and then thinking you're not supposed to reciprocate. You can't do that. Like, that's one of the biggest problems a lot of men complain about. Is that that's why Kanye West, I hate to mention him right now, but that's why he wrote Gold Digger and got big. But look who he's married to. He technically isn't a gold digger, but she has the perception of one. But the bottom line is that's what we're dealing with, folks. Get with the program, ladies. You got to stop expecting to pick your fence and take things such as you find them. Stop looking. When you have someone that's treating you well, meeting your needs, taking care of you, stop looking for something beyond it. Stop looking for the quote-unquote age appropriate. We already know age appropriate is not a true statement because the men ain't grown up till they're 45. So young ladies, you think about having a baby, you might want somebody who's been through some things, who's seen more sunsets than you, who can help you, who can't run like the young boys can do, and who's really been through some stuff and more likely ready to sign. Young boys, if y'all don't get yourself together, she deserves to be with somebody because y'all not ready. Y'all got to get yourselves ready, and this starts earlier. So y'all actually sowing your own seeds to get into. Maybe by the time you get there, you'll be ready by then, and you can get the next batch. But that's the problem, guys. You got, you can't say you're going to do all this and do that when you got guys who are now in a position, they've grown up, they're woke, to support them. Don't get mad with the older dudes when they get them. That's on you because you didn't want to grow up and get your shit together. Yeah, I said it. You didn't get your shit together. And therefore, you can't take care of somebody who's already planning their life till at least they're 40. You ain't there yet. So you got to start planning stuff young. And the most dangerous thing in America is a young dude with a whole bunch of money because he's young and dumb and full of cum, and he's going to do the wrong thing 9 times out of 10. He just is. That's how we are. I hate to say it, but it's true. I got to go with the base human nature, especially if you're not spiritually grounded. You know you're going to do it. You know you're going to be a fuck up. You know it. Now, women, same thing. Y'all trying to be like the dudes now. Do what dudes do. I had this woman. She think I was dumb. Think I didn't know she was running game. I just sat there and say nothing. I told her. And what was funny is she would go places and not realizing that people were seeing her out with her girls and out with other dudes. With the girls would get other dudes and then try to get them to do it. And then I didn't say nothing. I saw, and this has happened on more than one occasion, women. The Puerto Rican princess is another one that tried that game on me. And people told me, as well known as I am in town here in D.C. And he said, yeah, man, what's up with that? She out with a girl, she over the whole crew. I said, look, man, I ain't her daddy. You can do what you want. Just don't let me be in the club when you do it. And a couple of times I got a call, man, come down here. And I said, no, I ain't doing all that. Look, if somebody wants to do people are going to do what they want to do. But remember, it's the NFL, which means not for long. Because sooner or later, one day, I'm not going to try to get revenge. I'm just going to have to go out with somebody or whatever because I'm going to get tired of it. And then somebody's going to see me. And then they won't like it. And the ones that say they ain't jealous, they're liars. The most jealous women I ever met were the ones that claim they weren't jealous until they saw me or heard about me or pictures of me surface with someone else. Well, why did I go out with someone else? Because I got tired of seeing pictures and people that I knew who were taking pictures. They knew I wouldn't believe it, taking pictures, showing me. Some of them ended up on my daggone cell phone or Facebook thing showing me this is them. course I race the bitches, but that's not the point. The point is that, look, this is the NFL, which means not for long. You can't go places and think you can hide. There are cameras everywhere, and people taking them. And so when you acting shady, there's always somebody else out there to be like Tom Brady and make a pinpoint pass right to the person that's cheating or doing wrong or not doing right. So cut the bullshiggity out, ladies and gentlemen, because we already know dudes getting caught every day. So that's my point. It's the NFL, not for long, part 2. And remember, it's not your environment, but it's you. The quality of your mind, the integrity of your soul, and the determination of your will. That is what you are. Doesn't matter what they think about you. Doesn't matter what they say about you. Doesn't matter what they believe or perceive about you, because you are. And you are. And yep, you out there are what you aspire to be and not what you now are. So stop acting like these people on TV. They're giving a show. I'm a producer. Stop acting like them, ladies. Stop looking at these people who are ratchet. They got ratchet relationships and they're on TV doing it. Stop imitating them. Because regular dudes like me, well, I guess I'm a little extraordinary, but you know what I'm saying. Regular dudes don't want to deal with that. You're living a fantasy reality. Somebody on TV, I've been a producer for years, is encouraging you to act like and be like this. Stop it, y'all. Stop it. It's intellectual colonization, and it's really affecting people of color because we don't have the means to do certain things. And we got to start having long-term planning, not the NFL mentality, be it the owners or the officials making the bad decisions. We got to get away from that, y'all, and let's do our thing. And take your time, your energy, and resources, and let's make it work. Until then, I'm Dr. Chris, and I'm out. And this has been episode 7